G'day, Mark Rothfield here for Club Marine TV, and today feeling more like a kid in a candy store than a cynical old boating journo. That's because today's test boat, the Jeanneau Yachts 55, caught my eye the moment I saw the concept drawings. The looks, the layout, the luxurious finishes are all designed for maximum comfort and indulgence, whether you're sailing or just sitting at anchor. So grab your sunscreen and come and see what I mean. The Jeanneau Yachts 55 has been described as a yachtamaran or a mono-cat because of the amalgam of features, but I'm not sure that does this boat full justice. In many ways, it doesn't follow a lead, it sets a bold new course for sailing lifestyle. The designers obviously appreciate there's more to cruising than just sailing. In the Whitsundays, for example, you might sail for 3 hours and then you spend the rest of your time swimming, barbecuing, relaxing, and this yacht is perfect for that scenario. Speaking of swimming, that starts right here on this boarding platform. It is huge because the 55 hull carries its maximum 5-metre beam pretty well all the way to the transom. There's a really good swim ladder underneath this platform and a step that guides you up onto the one-level cockpit sole. Some of the other great features, it doesn't have a tender garage. Instead, it has retractable telescopic davits. So they rise, hinge out, and you can have something like a 3.1 metre tender suspended up above the water when you're sailing. It's another feature I really like. The barbecue moulding swings out from underneath this rear lounge. Electric, so you start your genset, start cooking, and then you can close it up and it all hinges out of the way. I must say it is a little bit compact, and they have talked about building a wet bar unit as an option. All the space underneath where you'd normally have your tender is used for life raft storage, for extra sails, your ropes, covers, stand-up paddleboard, so everything out of the way. If you have your boat delivered in the Med, you can have a passerelle fitted to port, and there's also another boarding entrance so you can climb up onto the higher dock. As you come up into the cockpit, you notice one of the unique selling features straight away. Instead of having steering wheels back here like conventional cruising yachts, you get this beautiful beach club arrangement. I've heard of surfer's paradise, well, this is swimmer's paradise. Great view over the water and fully clear of all the sailing controls. They've moved the twin helm stations further forward, which I really like both from a social point of view and a sailing perspective. It feels like a catamaran in some regards because you get great protection from the forward dodger. At the same time, really good vision. I can stand here, see the sails, see the side deck. Also just a good view over the whole boat. Twin winches, nice and close to hand, so if you're short-handed sailing, everything is set right here. Underneath the cockpit sole is this hatch leading to the engine room. It's filled with a Yachts 110 horsepower diesel, driving a shaft, not a sail drive. That's the same power as on the Jeanneau Yacht 60. You can also have your generator down here, so all the engineering is centralised, and it keeps noise out of the front cabin. Also means if you have a mechanic aboard, they can go straight there rather than traipsing oil downstairs. The navigation station is next in line, and I can't remember seeing this on too many yachts. Normally you're tucked downstairs out of the way. Here, the navigator, the watch captain can be upstairs amongst the elements, seeing what's going on. You can have your autopilot controls here. You can see everything on this screen. Opposite is this alfresco dinette. 4 or 5 people can sit here, they can have their breakfast, they can have a cappuccino, they can even have a cheeky cocktail while still enjoying the sailing. Larger groups, they'd go to the bigger tables further aft. A hardtop is an option, so that gives the boat a bit more of a motor sailor feel. For most climates, I like this arrangement. It's a Dodger, you can open it up, you get some airflow, you still get plenty of sun protection from this bimini compartment. Big selling feature number 2 is right here. gull wing doors giving access to 2 private guest cabins. Privacy is a rare commodity on a 55-foot yacht these days. Normally you have a main cabin which is a bit like a share house. Everyone's tripping over themselves, everyone's conscious about using the loo, but not here. And stepping down into the saloon, love the fact that the companionway hatch slides down and stays down in its own track. Normally the boards are really fiddly and they are a hassle to reinstall, but they're there ready to go if you need them. First impression, the saloon area is perhaps not as big as some 55-footers. Certainly it's not as imposing as the 60-footer, which has a completely different arrangement. But you have to remember, you're going to be getting a lot less foot traffic down here because of the private guest cabins. Also, you'll be spending 80 to 90% of your time up on deck. So this becomes the owner's suite, an owner's apartment really. Underneath this companionway stairs, you'd normally have your engine access. Here there are twin water tanks. Behind this panel, your battery switches, and inside there is your electrics panel and also a VHF radio. Inside this cabinet is the TV. Raises electrically. It's all pre-wired at the factory and they just install an Australian specified TV when it gets here. Inside the forward suite now, and you can really tell this is an owner's boat, not a charter boat. It kind of feels like I'm in the mid cabin of a powerboat. It is just so wide, so spacious, so much headroom, great views and super comfortable. Forward you have your ensuite, and again plenty of wow factor here. Large enclosed shower compartment, offset toilet, really beautiful basin. For privacy, this full bulkhead, you can close the doors. You'd probably do that when you're sailing, a couple of buttons and they open up, so you get that great flow through access. I would add, it's probably not somewhere you'd sleep when you're sailing offshore, particularly on a heel. You could put a lee cloth in and lock yourself in, but might get a little bit bumpy up here. In that case, you'd definitely head back to one of the back cabins and be perfectly comfortable. In the port side cabin now, and it is a genuine cabin, not some idle quarter berth. Great access down, you've got a nice companionway, and you really notice how much headroom there is down here, also how much light, and it does have cross-flow ventilation and the option of air conditioning. You can have a fridge down here if you'd like as well, not sure if you need it or not. Good storage. The port side cabin has this settee. It's a little bit larger than the starboard side, but otherwise they're identical. It has its own ensuite access, so you can go in there for your own shower and use the bathroom facilities. Well, finally sailing, and to be honest, it couldn't have been any easier. They've rigged this boat up with an electric furling headsail, which is fantastic, just push button. It's also got the optional in-mast furling. Now, 80-foot mast, 25 metres, that's quite a lot to get a halyard up. So that furling system really gets you underway a lot quicker and makes sail handling so much easier when you are short-handed. At the moment we've got about 10 knots of breeze on Port Phillip Bay here in Melbourne, and we're just sliding through the water at a very easy 5 knots, pointing relatively high. They've gone with the upgraded sails, and I think that again is worth having because Philip Brion, the designer, doesn't want a boat you can just sit on. He wants a good sailing hull. In this case there are 2 keel options. Shallow draft, about 6'2" on this boat. I think ballast is around about 5,600 kilos. You can also, if you're a bit more performance oriented, have a deeper keel that draws 8'2" and is slightly lighter, 4,900 kilos, out of a total displacement of close to 20 tonnes. At that size and with a long waterline, this boat will go through the water effortlessly. I've seen the polars and they are really impressive. 7, 8, 9 knots, no worries whatsoever. Here in this gentle 10 knot breeze, fingertip control on the wheels, beautifully balanced. If I do need to adjust the sails, or more accurately, if Tim needs to adjust these sails, push the button and off you go. Brion gives them twin rudders, so whatever angle of heel, you still have that precise control, and it can spin through tacks really well. Maintains that momentum, So at the moment I'm undercover, but to see the headsail perfectly, you can just come out, you've got full access to it and also the mainsail. And when you're at sea, you can just sit, beautiful little seat here, straight view down the side decks. The way the rig is, you've still got that nice clear sidewalk access. Self-tacking jib takes care of all that hard work. Going to put it through a tack now just to feel how quick she can respond. Yeah, it spins beautifully through there. And of course with the twin wheels just come across, set up on the new tack and we are away. Now performance sailors may go for a slightly more racy rig than this, so you could cruise a race easily. Deep keel, more of a standard mast and rig, but for cruising it's just perfect. You can have code zeros. The owner of this particular yacht is going with a code 3. Good reaching sail, lighter, really easy to handle, and it'll just give you that little bit of turbocharge sailing when you're sort of between 90 degrees and running. All the advantages of a spinnaker, but furl it up at the end of the day. So again, you shouldn't need more than 2 people that could handle the swell. I think the way the hulls are designed, they've got plenty of freeboard, plenty of form stability with that 5-metre beam, and you also have plenty of ballast there in the shoal draft keel. But a 6'2" draft on a 55-foot yacht means you can come in close. You know, certain waterways, where I'm from in Lake Macquarie, you couldn't get an 8-foot boat in and out on all tides. So lots of advantages to having that short keel and still being able to sail so well. Most of the time you just have this on autopilot and you could just sit back and relax. There's so many places where the crew can sit as well. They can be comfortable, they can be up front on that dinette, they can be lounging back here in bather's paradise, completely out of the way. So just one person needs to be sailing it at any time and everyone else can be relaxing. And I love that about the Jeanneau Yachts 55. It wasn't so long ago that European yachts had tiny cockpits and big cabins, but the Jeanneau Yachts 55 shows you can have both, along with excellent sailing performance. The French expression savoir-faire, which means know-how, resonates right throughout this yacht, thanks to the design work of Philippe Briand and Andrew Winch, the style master. It's functional, it's elegant, it's sociable, and it's highly saleable. Pricing starts around $1.5 million, but as you see it here, fairly highly spec'd, closer to $2 million. Honestly, I want one. I'm Mark Rothfield for Club Marine TV. Thanks for watching.